It's been 4 years since Rich Piana passed away, and I want to take an opportunity to remember Rich and talk about what I think he was all about, the beauty of what Rich was all about, because he really was quite a character, and also shed some light on my relationship I have with Rich a little bit, appropriately. There's nothing inappropriate about it. I only have too much to say, other than that I was at the Arnold in the spring of 2017, the year he passed away, and I saw these crazy lines and all the attention. Of course, I knew Rich just as a figure. I never met him before, and I took a break from my little booth and went over to his big booth, with all the people waiting, and I was just staring kind of at him, looking at this line, and I didn't want to get on the line, because I really didn't have time. And he saw me and he pulled me over. And he pulled me over, and he got one of his cronies, one of these other monsters, There was the anabolic doc, and he pulled me out of the line and on the side, and he brought me up to him, and he held me close, and we took the pictures together, and everything. And he whispered into my ear, and he right then and there stopped in front of everyone and made sure that he texted me, cell phone to cell phone, and he said, "Doc, we need to talk. I got to talk to you, man. I'm concerned. I got some shit going on. I really want to talk to you, Doc." And he said, "You're the man. Thank you so much, Doc, for what you do." And I was kind of starstruck, Of course, I've met a lot of big pros before and famous people, but being next to Rich, this guy is literally larger than life, right? You could see the picture of this guy and how big he was and how symmetrical and just freaky, just incredible in his face and everything. But he really held me, He really held me, and I felt that look. He looked really deep into me with severe concern and worry, because there was something going on, obviously medically, He was just concerned. And that was it, and anabolic doc, folks, boom, boom. I took off, gave him a hug, and I took off, and that was about it. We actually talked a little bit in the future, but, nothing. Quick pause a second. If you're watching this video, chances are you're on testosterone or maybe even steroids, and you're concerned for hair loss. So am I. So what's going on is that testosterone from your testicles, naturally, or from exogenous testosterone with injections, even steroids, can make you feel phenomenal and great, but it definitely can lead to male pattern balding. A lot of genetics on this, guys. There's a lot of other factors involved, but DHT, the conversion of testosterone to DHT, is absolutely fundamental. Now, you guys know, I don't like the systemic DHT blockers like finasteride and or dutasteride, because they cause sexual symptoms, not on all men, and not even on men that are just on these medications alone, but even for men that are on testosterone and steroids. The brain, guys, the sexual center, stimulated by androgens, is incredible, and I love it, and I know you guys love it too. So, my number one recommendation is going to be shampoos. You got to see the link here. There's 2 products, shampoos and topical agents. These products I'm recommending, in my opinion, are the absolute best combinations of ketoconazole with other specific agents for the shampoo. You got to see these products. Check the first product lines for the shampoo and the topical application. I'm going to watch this in myself, guys, and I've heard this stuff is absolutely amazing from my patients firsthand. So thank you so much for trusting me with this, guys. You got to keep the hair strong and healthy. We actually talked a little bit in the future, but nothing really happened, and I never did get a chance to work with Rich. And obviously, if I did, I might not feel comfortable saying this, right? Because is it a break of HIPAA? Well, he's passed on, but it just wouldn't be appropriate, and I want everyone to know that when a doctor takes care of people, you have to be very confidential, and that's always been very important to me. So beyond that, this video really is about Rich Piana and remembering him. And let's talk about Rich. So I first saw Rich, his videos, I don't know, 2016, 2015, I don't know what it was, you know, but there's this monster guy under the bridge, you know, and maybe in places like this, you know, I'm in Vermont right now on my land, we're building, and this is my shipping container, my storage container, and it's raining, so I had to pull out of the woods because I was going to do it in the woods by a stream, and I know my technical guys don't like the sound quality and everything, so I said, let me just sit up in my container and talk to you guys from the heart. So here it is. Rich Piana was larger than life. Rich Piana did steroids from the age of 18. He died at 46. He was incredibly bright guy, super motivated. Everyone knows he was super positive and motivated. But there were periods in Rich's life that he was down and out, like a real person. And that's why people loved him. And he was, you know, he was the first guy. Come on, Rich was the first guy to put the camera on and say, hey, what's going on, guys? All right, here's the deal. I'm on a gram of test. I got to come off. I'm going to blast HCG 5,000 units every other day. Guys, you got to come off. You got to take a break. Funny enough, right? And he would tell the truth. He was talking about his steroid use. And he would talk about everything he would do. And everyone just loved that. So that was the transitional period in the world where steroid users have come out. So guys, now we're beyond that. So many people have come out. Doctors are getting involved. Of course, give the docs a chance. They're getting involved. It takes time. I'm obviously one of the first doctors to get involved, but there's other doctors, but I'm the anabolic doc and certainly dedicated my life to you guys, to making sure men that use steroids are protected. And again, not professional athletes for cheating. That's really not the scope of what I do, you know. So 99.9% of PEDs and steroid users are non-professional athletes, really. Of course, bodybuilders are going to use these drugs. And, you know, we're beyond that now, right, guys? I mean, we're beyond the hate. We're beyond the discrimination. We're beyond passing judgment. So that's for the doctors out there, you know. You don't know about steroids and PEDs because it's super complicated. No one can know everything. They're medicines, right? They span the list of anabolic steroids, insulin, growth factors, clenbuterol. I mean, there's even recreationally drugs that have been used in sports like amphetamines. There's brain drugs now, ADD drugs, there's thyroid drugs, and the list continues, right? So it is a specialty of medicine, right? PEDs, you know, so I'm just the anabolic doc, so I'm more of an anabolic steroid expert. And of course myself. And I've been on steroids. I started them in my 20s, on and off, and because they shut you down, forget the health consequences, guys. They shut you down up front, and then you go on off. Post-psychotherapy really has not been proven to bring a man back, although I think ethically it has to be considered for fertility and to try to protect a man from crashing off of steroids, and that's a whole nother topic, so you guys know that. And I'm doing research on that, and we have 2 peer-reviewed articles out there with another fine physician, right, that I work with, Dr. Alex Bonacaz. And Rich represented the first man that came out and was so contagious with his optimism, and he looked so freakish, right? Now, a lot of you guys don't want to be that big and don't want to do that many steroids, but Rich did, and a lot of men do steroids. Even a little bit of steroids will shut you down and end up causing health consequences, right? You see it, John Meadows, potentially, and all these things. It is what it is, guys. And the message I have for you guys is that if you're going to use steroids, if you're going to cross that line, it's going to be an on or off switch. You're going to go on and off, regardless of post-psychotherapy, depending on who you are and what you do, you're going to get shut down, and you're going to have to be on testosterone the rest of your life. That's number one. And for 16-year-old men, you know, adolescent boys, young men, 16, 18, 20, 21, even if you're 30, you've got to consider that, number one. Next, the take-home message from today, sitting in my storage box here, is that end organ damage. You know, look at Rich, right? He definitely, in the end, arrested. It didn't come crashing down. It stopped. It just stopped. But crashing down is like you have a heart attack, maybe a stroke, maybe blood clots, maybe you have a surgery like you see some of these guys have. And these things can happen to just people anyway. But then you come back out of it. You've lost a lot of weight. You're depressed. You feel horrible. You don't look the way you did. But with Rich, the music just stopped. And he arrested. And was it from insulin? Was it from snorting his pre-workout? Was it from amphetamines, narcotics? Was it directly from steroids? You guys watch my video on his autopsy review. The pathologist who reviewed Rich's autopsy and signed the document had an inconclusive cause of death. And who knows if that's political. But in the end, it wasn't really a heart attack. It wasn't from any cancer. It wasn't really from any drugs that they stated. So we'll never know. Something happened, and when Rich was reaching out to me and looked me in the eye, you know something was going on, because he was on steroids and a lot of other medicines. You know that injectable medicine, he wasn't just on site injection whale synthol. That was really a plastic polymer derivative that I really don't know much about. It's not really in America. And that was one of these, fixed, kind of a hardened agent that's used for plastic surgery and cosmetic surgery in some countries, but not in America. And did that end up infiltrating his heart, and that caused cardiac arrest, right? And all the other drugs and the steroids. Who cares? No one's gonna know. But what I want to get across to you guys is, Rich was a great dude, and everyone wants to crank and do their thing in life. Find in life what you love and be a beast at it. If it's going to be medicine, being a nurse, a fireman, a policeman, a carpenter, an accountant, a businessman, dad, a partner, a lover, just a great person. Be intense. That intensity can go far. And if you do go too far with it, like Rich did, and many people do, and I did when I was younger, there'll be consequences. And once you cross the line and you have permanent organ disease and destruction with the heart and the kidney and the red blood cells and the hematologic system and all these things, with the blood clots and all this, very deep internal medicine that I'm involved with and I see every day, I want to protect. So I want you guys to be very careful, and then I want you to transition over to testosterone if you're on steroids and you can't get off steroids. Keep it to a down low. I've been on testosterone for up to 30 years now, very close to that, because I realized I wanted to not do more steroids. And did I blast and cruise a little bit way back in the? Of course I did. Of course I did. But I was always worried, so having a little bit of worry, and I call it being a hypochondriac for myself. I'm not characterizing patients at all, because there's a fine line between being neurotic and being protective to yourself. So you guys, make sure you check everything. Lower the doses, enjoy. You don't need much. I mean, you can't be a pro bodybuilder without tons of steroids. Come on, guys. Top power lifter and all this stuff. If you have dreams, and I hear guys say, Doc, I know I'm gonna die early, and I'm okay with that, that's, when I hear that, I have to think, God, I gotta help you, man, because you don't wanna die early, and you don't need to die early, but you gotta reassess your goals, and you can be on testosterone and be strong and feel great, have great sex, and that's what I want to get across to you guys, is that you want to not get hurt with end organ damage like Rich did in the end at only 46 years old. And I just really want to get that message out to you guys. So I want to get a lot of comments to you guys. You see that I'm transitioning away from phenomenal medical information, which I'm always going to do, into more of this really lifestyle media for you guys, because I love to have effect into your spirit. And that's what it really is for me, transitioning from hardcore medicine, which I'm always going to do, physical medicine, getting into spiritual effects, and really want to be a leader for men that need to understand that we're men and we like to be strong and beasts, and we use drugs, not to mention so do women. But there'll be consequences, and I want to always protect you from those consequences. There's no discrimination. I don't care if you're a heroin user, a cigarette smoker. I don't care if you're addicted to food or alcohol or steroids. I'm there to protect you with any means I can, and to develop protocols to protect you. Because life is beautiful and it's very mysterious, and you want to really enjoy everything you can and stay strong and healthy, guys. So from my shipping container up in Vermont, thank you so much, guys, for trusting me. Let's keep cranking, and I want to hear everything you have to feel and say about Rich, drugs, steroids, anything regarding life, and why it's important to not go too far, or maybe why you think it's important to take such risks that we've all taken. And I want to hear that because I want other men to read this. Thank you so much.